Have you ever stopped to reflect on what makes a truly wise woman stand out in life? Is it her sharp intellect, her eloquence, or perhaps her remarkable ability to navigate the challenges of relationships, family, and life itself? In today's exploration, we'll delve into the profound wisdom of women who have mastered the art of silence, resilience, and compassion, qualities that not only shape their own lives but also inspire and uplift those around them. Throughout this video, we'll uncover 3 essential things that truly wise women choose never to say. These are practices that help them avoid unnecessary conflicts, strengthen their relationships, and find inner peace, even in the face of betrayal, hardship, or misunderstanding. From steering clear of harsh accusations to understanding the hidden risks of flaunting wealth, every lesson we share is a step toward embracing a life of grace, dignity, and purpose. But this video isn't just about wisdom in words. It's also about wisdom in action. You'll hear a deeply moving story about John, a man who made the unexpected decision not to divorce his wife, Laura, even after discovering that she had been unfaithful for 2 decades. What drove his decision? Was it forgiveness, practicality, or something even more profound? John's journey is a testament to the complexities of love, the weight of responsibility, and the delicate balance between self-worth and the sacrifices we make for family. By the end of this video, you'll gain a fresh perspective on how wise women, and wise men, navigate life's most challenging truths. You'll learn how they preserve their inner peace while upholding their values, even when life seems to test them beyond their limits. Whether you're seeking inspiration for your relationships, grappling with forgiveness, or simply curious about the hidden strength found in restraint and gratitude, this video promises insights that will resonate deeply. So, stay with us until the end. You might just discover answers to questions you've been carrying for years, or gain a new perspective on the choices that shape our lives and define who we are. Let's dive into these lessons together. And before we begin, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification bell so you never miss any of our videos. Your support means the world to me, and if you find this video helpful or inspiring, you can help spread these valuable lessons by liking and sharing them with others. Let's work together to bring wisdom and positivity to as many people as we can. 1. Not voicing resentful words when facing difficulties. In psychology, there's a well-known principle. The more one complains, the more unfortunate one becomes. This idea highlights a simple but profound truth. When we face even minor obstacles and choose to lament them openly, we do nothing to solve our problems. Instead, we create a negative cycle, one that pulls us and those around us into a deeper state of distress and discouragement. Take, for example, my neighbor, Linda. Linda could be described as a textbook example of a hard-working and dedicated woman. She pours her energy and attention into every detail of her family's life, always striving to create a better environment for them. Yet, despite her unrelenting efforts, Linda has never felt truly appreciated or respected by her husband, Mike, or their children. The issue didn't lie in her actions, but rather in her tendency to constantly voice her dissatisfaction. Whenever life presented even the smallest hurdle, Linda would heave a sigh and direct her frustration at Mike. She would criticize him for his perceived lack of ambition, compare him unfavorably to other men, and barrage him with complaints. These sharp, blame-filled words acted like a bitter wind, chilling their home and fraying the bonds of their marriage. Over time, Mike began to lose his motivation to engage with her or their family, and their relationship slipped into a stormy cycle of arguments and estrangement. What should have been a sanctuary, a warm, restful home, became a suffocating environment, overshadowed by a constant dark cloud. Linda, like many others who voiced dissatisfaction habitually, failed to realize the full impact of her words. Each complaint was a heavy brick, building a wall between herself and the happiness she so desperately sought. Unwittingly, she was imprisoning not only herself but also her loved ones in a toxic atmosphere. Resentful words, spoken in moments of frustration, act as harmful seeds. Each one chips away at the self-esteem of others while simultaneously embedding bitterness and disappointment in the speaker's own heart. Those who consistently complain find it difficult to elicit empathy from others. As a result, they often end up feeling isolated, making it even harder to live a peaceful and fulfilling life. Ancient wisdom offers timeless insights into this behavior. Confucius once said, "Those who understand destiny do not resent heaven. Those who know themselves do not blame others." These words underscore the power of self-awareness and acceptance. Resenting life only weakens your resolve, and blaming others traps you in a cycle of stagnation. A person who understands themselves and their circumstances recognizes that every challenge carries a lesson, a chance to strengthen their character. Accepting the interconnectedness of all things, they embrace the principle of cause and effect. Each thought, word, and action brings corresponding outcomes. Complaining, therefore, serves no constructive purpose. It merely magnifies suffering for everyone involved. Linda, unfortunately, didn't see that her constant criticism was like repeatedly stabbing at the hearts of those she loved. Her negativity eroded her relationships, leaving her feeling increasingly disconnected. A wise woman, by contrast, does not squander her precious energy on complaints. Instead, she focuses on solutions, cultivating a mindset of gratitude and compassion. Like the warmth of the sun, a positive outlook brightens not only her own life but also the lives of those around her. Linda, and all of us, can learn to break free from the habit of resentment. By choosing gratitude over complaints and approaching difficulties with a calm, constructive attitude, we can transform the way we live and interact with others. Through this shift, a warm light can begin to shine, breaking through even the darkest of clouds. It's not easy to change old patterns, but the rewards are undeniable. A heart filled with gratitude and positivity has the power to attract joy, build stronger connections, and create a life that feels truly abundant. Let us all strive to embrace this wisdom and make our lives, and our homes, brighter and more harmonious. 2. Avoiding harsh condemnation of others. There's an old saying, condemning others is like pouring water into your shoes. The more you blame them, the more discomfort you feel. This simple yet profound metaphor speaks volumes about the futility of harsh criticism. Like walking in wet shoes, harsh words do nothing to resolve problems. They only weigh us down, making each step forward increasingly painful and exhausting. When genuine affection and care in a relationship are replaced by bitterness, blame often becomes an outlet for venting anger. Yet, condemnation rarely eases the pain. Instead, it acts like a fierce wind, extinguishing the warmth that once nurtured a home. Relationships that could otherwise weather life's storms are left vulnerable to collapse when blame and resentment take center stage. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Take my friend, Jessica, as an example. Jessica has a habit of complaining about nearly everything. When her husband, Mark, was working in sales, she frequently berated him for his supposedly inadequate salary, his busy schedule, and his perceived lack of attention to their family. Her sarcasm and cutting remarks were relentless. So, how did it go today? Were you scolded by any customers? Wow, it must be really difficult for you to work like that. What a hero. Honestly, the way you work is a joke. Even after Mark received a promotion and their financial situation improved, Jessica simply shifted her focus to other criticisms. One evening after dinner, she asked Mark to help with the dishes. However, he was tied up with urgent work on his computer. Instead of showing understanding, Jessica sighed heavily and launched into another tirade. You're not the only one who's busy, you know. I go to the grocery store every single day and prepare all our meals. What, do you think I don't get tired? Asking you to wash a few dishes, and suddenly it's too much to handle? I can't live like this anymore. Her outburst ended in tears, but those tears did little to mend the cracks in their marriage. Mark, who had been holding back his frustrations for years, finally erupted. What started as a heated argument ended with Mark bringing up the idea of divorce, a shocking moment that left Jessica with nothing but deep regret. Jessica's story is not unique. If you take a closer look at the world around you, you'll notice that people who constantly complain are far from rare. These individuals sigh at life's perceived injustices, lament that the world doesn't conform to their desires, and grumble about how they are treated. What they fail to recognize is the damage these complaints inflict, not only on those around them but also on themselves. Each complaint is like a sharp blade, wounding others and carving away their happiness and peace of mind. The Japanese folklorist Yanagita Kunio once observed, "Those who are always full of complaints forfeit their share of good fortune." This wisdom underscores a universal truth. Life's trials and tribulations are inevitable, but how we respond to them shapes the outcomes we experience. A truly wise woman is not someone who avoids challenges altogether, but someone who has the strength to steady her heart in the face of adversity. Wise individuals understand that negative emotions, while powerful, are fleeting. They also know that venting frustrations rarely, if ever, leads to solutions. It often has the opposite effect, creating a spiral of negativity that deepens the very problems they seek to escape. Life is not always smooth sailing. Sometimes, the storms we encounter serve as opportunities to cultivate resilience and maturity. Confucius once said, "Deep waters do not stir, and the truly strong do not speak in vain." This teaching reminds us that true strength lies in maintaining calmness and dignity, even in the face of life's most challenging moments. When we release the burdens of blame and replace them with empathy and understanding, life becomes lighter, and we can step forward with greater confidence. Jessica's story serves as a reminder that harsh condemnation and criticism only lead to deeper suffering, for both the one who condemns and the one who is condemned. Instead of tearing others down, we must learn to steady our hearts, seek solutions, and hold on to hope, even when life seems most unfair. By embracing this approach, we can navigate life's trials with grace and create relationships that are built to endure, no matter the storm. In the end, the lighter your heart, the steadier your steps. Let go of blame, hold on to compassion, and watch how the path before you transforms. 3. Not flaunting one's wealth or assets. Have you ever noticed that when people excessively brag about their achievements or possessions, it often signals an underlying insecurity or even invites trouble? The ancient wisdom of the Tao Te Ching teaches us to be bright but not dazzling, calm as deep water. This profound principle reminds us that, even if we are fortunate enough to live comfortably, true wisdom lies in embracing modesty, remaining grounded and avoiding the temptation to show off our success. No matter where you stand in life, exercising restraint and discretion in how you speak and act is key to protecting your peace of mind and preserving your good fortune. Consider Sarah, a woman who couldn't resist talking about her family's wealth. At every social gathering, she would bring up the number of properties her family owned, the luxury car she drove, or the designer handbag she recently purchased. Even though Sarah was undoubtedly affluent, her constant boasting did not elevate her status among her peers. Instead, it created distance. Her audience often found her unrelatable, and some even began to harbor resentment toward her. Over time, Sarah noticed that her words attracted not admiration, but envy. Instead of fostering goodwill, she unintentionally placed herself and her family under a harsh spotlight, making them targets for judgment, jealousy, and even potential exploitation. In today's world, the problem is amplified by social media. Many individuals, particularly young women, use platforms to flaunt their opulent lifestyles. They share pictures of lavish vacations, high-end wardrobes, and luxurious homes, hoping to garner admiration. However, such displays often invite public scrutiny. Jealousy is a persistent emotion, especially in a society where comparisons are inevitable. While some people might applaud such posts, others may silently resent them, or worse, use the information for malicious purposes. Displaying wealth does not equate to happiness or security. It often brings risks that are easy to overlook. For instance, Sarah's neighbor, Lauren, chose a different path. Lauren had a similarly prosperous lifestyle but refrained from drawing attention to it. She focused instead on building meaningful relationships and maintaining a low profile. Her modesty earned her the respect of her peers and allowed her to live peacefully without the burdens of envy or competition. A truly wise woman understands that modesty and privacy act as shields, safeguarding her inner peace and her family's security. She knows that the world does not always respond with sympathy or understanding, whether she is sharing her successes or her struggles. This is why even those who face financial hardships should approach their situation with quiet dignity rather than broadcasting their woes. Complaining about poverty or difficulties rarely brings genuine assistance. More often, it alienates others or invites unnecessary pity. One inspiring example of resilience and discretion comes from the life of Michael Tanner, a well-respected entrepreneur who built his success from humble beginnings. Michael grew up in a household where meals were scarce, and money was even scarcer. However, his mother, Margaret, never complained publicly about their circumstances. Instead, she instilled in her children the importance of perseverance and self-respect. No matter how little you have, hold your head high, she often told them. Walk with pride in your heart, and don't let others pity you. Margaret's quiet strength and refusal to flaunt her hardships left a lasting impression on Michael. That resilience became the foundation of his success, driving him to work harder and achieve more while remaining humble about his accomplishments. Today, Michael credits his mother's wisdom and example for teaching him the value of perseverance and dignity. Life's challenges are not resolved by boastful displays or endless lamentations. Real transformation comes from consistent effort, self-improvement, and the determination to keep moving forward. A wise woman knows this. She does not allow material wealth, or the lack thereof, to define her worth or cloud her spirit. She remains steadfast, embracing each trial as an opportunity to grow stronger. Through quiet resilience, humility, and hard work, such women find the strength to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. And in doing so, they inspire those around them to see life not as a competition, but as a journey to be navigated with grace, wisdom, and a steadfast heart. By the end of this journey, they arrive at a place of inner peace and true freedom, untouched by envy or arrogance. Next, I would like to share a story. My name is Michael Hayes, and I'm 60 years old. I was born and raised in a quiet rural town in Vermont. My wife, Emily, and I have been married for 36 years. In the early years of our marriage, Emily was a strong, intelligent woman who threw herself wholeheartedly into caring for our family. I admired her deeply for her dedication, and I loved her with all my heart, convinced she was the perfect partner for life. Ours wasn't a storybook romance, but an arranged marriage facilitated by our families. Yet Emily's devotion to our modest household made me feel incredibly fortunate. I cherished her as my companion and the cornerstone of my life. A few years after we married, Emily gave birth to our first child. With the arrival of our baby, I felt an even greater sense of duty as a husband and father. I knew it was my responsibility to provide for them and build a stable, secure life. To fulfill that responsibility, I made a difficult decision. I left home to pursue better job opportunities in the city. It was a painful choice, one that required me to leave Emily and our child behind. However, I believed enduring the separation was the best way to give my family the comfort and security they deserved. I worked tirelessly for years, driven by the dream of returning home with enough financial stability to support them without worry. Eventually, my efforts paid off. My career stabilized, and I was able to provide a steady income for my family. With my work under control, I decided it was time to return to my hometown and finally spend meaningful time with Emily and our children. I longed for the shared moments of family life that I had missed during those years of sacrifice. I believed that, with the financial pressure eased, Emily and I would rekindle the happiness we had once shared. During my years of relentless work, I hadn't been able to talk with Emily as often as I wanted. Yet, she never once complained. She showed unwavering patience and understanding, and I was moved by her quiet strength. In my eyes, Emily was the perfect wife, someone I deeply appreciated and admired. I never doubted her loyalty or her love for our family. But life has a way of defying expectations. The truth has a way of revealing itself, even when we least expect it. One day, I discovered that Emily had been unfaithful. Her betrayal wasn't a fleeting mistake. It had lasted for 20 years. It all came to light when a close friend of mine noticed her in a compromising situation that left no room for doubt. In that moment, the world I had built in my mind crumbled. The realization was like a knife to the heart. I had believed my sacrifices would bring us closer, and that my hard work would ensure our happiness. I had trusted that Emily would remain faithful, even in my absence. Learning the truth was devastating. I couldn't help but wonder, had she been lonely? Had I left her feeling abandoned while I focused so much on my work? Was I partly to blame for what had happened? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the immediate aftermath, I was overwhelmed by anger, sadness, and disbelief. Many men in my position might have immediately filed for divorce, but I hesitated. I knew the decision would have far-reaching consequences, not just for Emily and me, but for our entire family. As the days turned into sleepless nights, I wrestled with my emotions and considered what to do. Divorce seemed like the obvious choice, but something held me back. Ultimately, my decision wasn't based solely on Emily's betrayal or my hurt feelings. It was rooted in the values I had carried with me throughout my life. The importance of family, the weight of responsibility, and the ability to see beyond immediate pain to the bigger picture. These values shaped my choice to remain in the marriage, even as I grappled with the heartbreak of her infidelity. This wasn't a decision I made lightly. It was a journey of self-reflection, one that forced me to confront the complexity of love, loyalty, and forgiveness. Let me share with you how and why I came to this decision, not out of weakness, but as an attempt to find meaning and peace amid betrayal. 1. The forbearance I gained over time. As the years passed, I came to understand a truth that eludes many. No relationship is without flaws. A marriage is much like a small boat navigating an endless sea. You will inevitably encounter storms. Emily's betrayal was unquestionably wrong, but as I reflect on the long journey we've shared, I can't place all the blame on her. The fault, I've realized, was not hers alone. During the years I spent tirelessly working to provide for our family, a distance grew between us. Without realizing it, I allowed a cold silence to settle over our marriage. I failed to give Emily the attention and emotional connection she needed. Her loneliness, I now see, may have been a result of my choices. This is not to excuse her actions or diminish the hurt they caused me, but I can't deny that my absence contributed to the gulf that formed between us. Forbearance, I've learned, is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it is a path to freedom. Freedom from the grudges, bitterness, and torment that can weigh us down and poison our lives. By choosing forbearance, I've been able to let go of the endless cycle of resentment and pain, making space for a fragile, but real, sense of peace. Emily and I still live under the same roof, though the fiery passion of our youth has long since faded. Our relationship now is one of coexistence rather than the romantic partnership we once dreamed of. Our children, all grown now with families of their own, have their own lives to lead. My decision to stop revisiting Emily's mistakes was not for her benefit alone, but for the stability and tranquility of our family as a whole. Rehashing her betrayal serves no purpose other than to reopen old wounds. The past cannot be undone, and to dwell on it only makes the present more painful. In life, there are rarely choices that are entirely right or wrong. Instead, life presents us with a series of decisions and compromises, each one shaped by our values and the circumstances we face. My choice to remain in the marriage was not made out of fear or denial of reality. It was a conscious decision rooted in my sense of responsibility and deep gratitude for all that Emily contributed to our family in the years before her infidelity. Those moments of devotion, love, and shared struggle still matter, even if they are overshadowed by her mistakes. To me, this choice is worth upholding. It is not about erasing the pain or pretending that the betrayal never happened. It is about honoring the totality of our shared life, the good alongside the bad, and finding a way to move forward with dignity. I hope that others, too, can find peace and happiness in the decisions they make. When you let go of anger and embrace understanding, your heart becomes lighter. And when your heart is at peace, you are free to draw closer to the essence of life, a place where you can truly appreciate the beauty and complexity of the journey we all share. 2. Responsibility toward family. Our children are innocent. From the moment a couple decides to marry and bring children into the world, they take on the profound responsibility of creating a stable and nurturing environment for their family. The bond of marriage is not just between two individuals. It forms the foundation of a home where children learn about love, trust, and the meaning of family. For this reason, the thought of divorce, while it might have offered a way to resolve the issues between Emily and me, felt unbearable. I could not bring myself to watch our children endure the pain and confusion that such a decision would cause. In this world, children do not need a perfect family. What they truly need is a home where warmth and love provide them with a sense of safety and belonging. No matter how strained things became between Emily and me, I wanted our children to grow up believing in the possibility of love and trust. I wanted them to carry hope into their relationships, untainted by the bitterness that could have arisen from a fractured home. For many years, I wrestled with this responsibility. It wasn't easy to separate my pain from my role as a father, but I firmly believed that our family, though flawed, could still serve as a source of support and learning for all of us. Our imperfection did not make us unworthy of trying to uphold the bonds that tied us together. On the contrary, it became an opportunity to teach our children about resilience, commitment, and the complexity of human relationships. I understood that maintaining this family structure would require sacrifice on my part. It meant setting aside my anger and disappointment to focus on a greater goal, ensuring that my children grew up in a home that felt steady, even if it wasn't perfect. My choice was not an act of denial or self-punishment. It was a conscious decision to prioritize my family's well-being over my immediate desires. This is why I chose not to divorce and instead to preserve our family unit. The love between Emily and me may have changed, but the love we shared for our children remained steadfast. That love, for me, was reason enough to endure the challenges and find ways to coexist under the same roof. I hold firmly to the belief that family is not about perfection. It is about showing up for one another, even when it's hard. It's about providing a foundation of support and a place to learn, grow, and love. And while Emily and I may no longer share the romance of our early years, I hope that by keeping our family intact, I have given our children a chance to build lives of their own, grounded in hope and the possibility of love. 3. Recognizing her past contributions. Yes, Emily betrayed me, and that betrayal cut deep. But it does not erase the many years she dedicated to building and maintaining our family. While I was away, working to provide for us, she was the one who stayed behind, shouldering every burden on her own. She raised our children, cared for my aging parents, and kept our home running smoothly so that I could focus on my responsibilities without added worry. I still remember how, no matter how difficult things became, Emily never once complained. She worked tirelessly, ensuring that our children felt loved, our parents were cared for, and our home remained a sanctuary. Her quiet strength and unwavering commitment in those years cannot be overlooked or forgotten, no matter how much her later actions hurt me. Those contributions were real, and they left a lasting impact on our family. Life is rarely as simple as dividing people into categories of good and bad. It doesn't always boil down to stark choices between right and wrong. People are complex, shaped by both their virtues and their flaws. Sometimes, we need to step back and consider the totality of someone's actions before passing judgment. Emily's betrayal cannot be undone, but neither can the countless moments of devotion she showed over the years. Her mistake does not invalidate the good she brought into our lives. I choose to respond with forbearance, not because I am blind to her wrongdoing or unwilling to confront it, but because I want to honor the life we built together. The love, the sacrifices, and the shared memories that remain a part of who we are. This decision is not a sign of weakness. It is, instead, a reflection of my values. For me, it is important to recognize the whole picture and not allow one chapter of betrayal to define the entire story of our marriage. By choosing forbearance, I am holding on to the gratitude I feel for the years of effort and love Emily gave to our family, even as I navigate the pain of her choices. This balance, while not easy, is what allows me to move forward with a sense of peace. Shortly after discovering my wife's infidelity, another testimony emerges. When I discovered my wife, Emily, had been unfaithful, it felt like the ground beneath me had disappeared. I never imagined her capable of such betrayal, and the shock was overwhelming. I was consumed by disgust and disappointment, and the thought of divorce crossed my mind more times than I could count. But as I wrestled with my emotions through countless sleepless nights, a new realization emerged. If I divorced her, it would mean granting her freedom, the freedom to openly pursue her lover without consequences. The idea of making her life easier in this way was intolerable to me. There was also a practical element to my decision. Our home still needed the touch of a woman's hand. Emily had always been the one to care for the children, manage the household, and look after my aging parents. Even with her betrayal, I couldn't deny the effort and competence she brought to these roles. Would a new wife be able to manage these responsibilities as effectively? Could I trust another person to take care of my family as well as Emily had, despite her transgressions? I doubted it. So, I decided not to divorce her. Not out of love or reconciliation, but out of practicality and, if I'm honest, a desire for revenge. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I began to view Emily as an unpaid housekeeper, someone who could atone for her betrayal by continuing to devote herself to the family. By keeping our marriage intact, I didn't feel like I was the one losing out. On the contrary, I saw this arrangement as a way to punish her. Every time she came home from seeing her lover, she would repay her sins through her work at home, cooking meals, cleaning the house, and caring for our children and parents. But forgiveness, that was never an option for me. My attitude toward her became icy and distant, devoid of any affection or warmth. I stopped giving her an allowance and insisted on sleeping in separate bedrooms. The very thought of her with another man filled me with revulsion. Her regret meant nothing to me. It could never undo the emptiness she left in the space where our love once existed. Driven by anger and the need to balance the scales, I began an affair of my own. I took a mistress, and I made no effort to hide it. I went out of my way to speak to my lover on the phone in Emily's presence, ensuring she knew exactly how little space she occupied in my heart. She never objected. She knew she had forfeited any right to criticize me. Whenever I spoke to her, it was in a harsh, commanding tone. The once equal partnership we shared was gone. She had become submissive, knowing full well that the humiliation she endured was her penance for the past. Over time, Emily seemed to have ended her affair. Perhaps she concluded that the life she was living with me, one of quiet humiliation and ceaseless obligation, was the price she had to pay for her mistakes. Even now, I admit that my actions are far from ideal. Some may say my behavior is vindictive, or that I am perpetuating a cycle of bitterness. But given the circumstances, this was the only path that made sense to me. Many people might disagree, but I chose to prioritize what I saw as stability for our family over personal happiness or traditional notions of justice. Why didn't I forgive her? Because I couldn't. Even though her affair has ended, the betrayal has left a void inside me that no apology or regret can ever fill. Seeing her face reminds me of the pain she caused, and I know we can never go back to the way things were. Forgiveness would mean giving her another chance, and I am unwilling to do that. Once, Emily asked me for a divorce. She told me she couldn't stand our miserable life together any longer. But I refused. I wanted her to remain in this house, to face the consequences of her betrayal every single day. This is the price she must pay, and I have no intention of offering her an escape. Now, Emily continues to care for the family. She cooks, cleans, and tends to my elderly parents without complaint. Yet, I no longer concern myself with whether she is tired or worn down. In my mind, this is her duty, her atonement for the harm she caused. Even our children have grown distant from her, viewing her as the one who fractured our family. They, too, shun her, and any respect they once had for her has eroded. Ours is a family that exists in name only, a fragile structure held together by necessity and shared history, but devoid of the warmth and trust that once gave it meaning. This is the life we now live, a testament to the weight of betrayal and the choices we make in its aftermath. Life is a journey filled with challenges, lessons, and decisions that define who we are and the relationships we build. From learning the power of forbearance to embracing responsibility for our families and recognizing the contributions of those around us, we've explored some of the most profound and thought-provoking aspects of love, betrayal, forgiveness, and resilience. So, what have you learned from these stories and reflections? Has anything resonated deeply with you? Take a moment to think about one lesson or insight that you'll bring into your own life. Is it the importance of patience and understanding? The value of gratitude and recognizing contributions? Or perhaps it's learning how to navigate life's storms with dignity and strength? We would love to hear from you. Share in the comments below one thing you've learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your own journey. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue to create meaningful and inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.